So, Economics A level, we're going to chapter 11, monopolistic competition. And when I talk about monopolistic competition, I wrote, it's a market structure where many firms sell differentiated products that are similar but not identical. So these firms have some certain control over the price due to product differentiation but face competition from other firms in the same market. Example given, restaurants, hotels, and furniture making. So they are we call it a monopolistic competition because it still has a sort of power over the price it charges. That's why its demand curve is downward sloping. So for a monopolistic competition, it is an hybrid of a monopoly and a perfect competition. So it's intertwined between perfect competition and a monopoly. So the point about them is that in that market, it's a whole market, it's a market, but in that market, they sell differentiated products. But these products can be close substitutes. That's why they said they are similar but not identical. So that means they can be close substitutes. So what are the assumptions of a monopolistic competition? The theory of monopolistic competition has almost the same characteristics as that of a perfect competition, and they are as follows. One, there's a large numbers of buyers and sellers in the market, of which are relatively small and act independently. So they act independently because they can control their price, and they are selling differentiated products. And when we talk about differentiated products, we're talking about products that product differentiation is simply like letting customers know that your product is not the same as those of your competitors. Two, there's a large numbers of buyers and sellers in the market at which, okay, I said that, there are no barriers to entry and exit, same as a perfect competition. In a monopolistic competition, there's no barrier to entry or exit. Firms are profit maximizer, which simply means they produce where the MC equals to MR. However, firms produce non-homogeneous or differentiated products. So we call it monopolistic because they are competitors, but the form of competitors they are, the form of competition in there is a close substitute, not substitutes. Clear? So that takes us to the demand curve. The downward sloping demand curve. So the demand for products in a monopolistic competition is likely to be relatively elastic. The reason could be as a result of close substitutes. Although firms can act independently and have certain amount of market power, they may be able to raise their prices without losing all their customers. But the fact that they sell similar products, customers will switch. No, I think, did I finish it? Yeah. Okay, customer will switch. Customer will switch. That means if price increases to some extent, customers might switch from. It's just like a restaurant. So when you go to a restaurant, like, oh, they sell maybe Chinese, it's a Chinese restaurant, but the price of Chinese restaurants increases over these days. Then I could go to a Turkish restaurant. Yeah, it's all about food. But no, I will stop eating the Chinese because it's now expensive. So I'll start eating Turkish delicacies. So that's the point there. So in a monopolistic competition, prices, because prices can go into the minds of customers, they might switch from buying from you. So that's why the demand curve of a monopolistic competition is what? Downward sloping. And this is it. This is how it looks like. It's downward sloping. So this means you can sell at this point, you can sell at this point, you can sell at this point. It just depends on whoever you are dealing with and whatever your cost is at that period of time. So the demand curve as faced by a monopolistic competitor isn't flat. It's not flat like this. That is not horizontal. That's what I mean. So which means we can raise a monopolistic competitor can raise its price without losing all of its customers or lower its price and gain more customers. You can lower your price to gain more customers, and at the same time, you can increase your price without losing all your customers. You might lose some, but not all. That is the point I mean, because there are some people, it is always Chinese, or if not Chinese, nothing else. So that's how they are. So irrespective of the price, they're still going to want to buy. So what is the way in which you can differentiate your products from those of your competitors in a monopolistic competition? So there are three methods of differentiating your product. We have physical differentiation, we have marketing differentiation, and distribution differentiation. So we're going to start with product differentiation. So for product differentiation, product differentiation is a way in which a firm makes customers think that the products they are selling is not the same as those of their competitors. So what are the ways in which we can differentiate our product? The first one is physical differentiation. We talk about physical differentiation. Here I wrote, this is where a firm makes its product slightly different from competitors' product through maybe design, the color, specific features, the performance, or the size. So what you can see, what you can touch, so you would know, oh, this is not product A, this is product B. So that's the physical differentiation. Then we have marketing differentiation. When we talk about marketing differentiation, I wrote, this is where a firm uses different packaging and promotion, that's advertisement, to create a different brand image, perception of customers for their product compared with those of the competitors. That is marketing. Then the last one is distribution. And when we talk about distribution differentiation, we're simply talking about how the product gets to the final user, the consumers. Some products will be sold online, some products will be sold through different distribution channels, maybe consumer or wholesalers or retailers or agents. So they can differentiate their product through the channel, the link which the product gets to the final user. So those are the three ways in which product differentiation can be used in a monopolistic competition. Is it clear?
Yeah.
So that takes us to profit maximizing equilibrium in the short run. This order. So for profit maximizing equilibrium in the short run, in a monopolistic competition, the firm maximizes profit in the short run by producing the quantity where the marginal revenue equals to the marginal cost. So that means a firm in a monopolistic competition will only produce where MC equals to MR. So at this output level, the firm can set a price based on its downward sloping demand curve, which is AR, which is above MR due to the differentiated products. So this can lead to a supernormal profit, losses, or normal profit, depending on the relationship between price and the average cost. So in a monopolistic competition, based on the fact that firms will produce where MC equals to MR, so it is easier for a firm in a monopolistic competition to make abnormal profit, to make a normal profit, or to make even a loss. So making abnormal profit, making a loss, or making a normal profit is dependent on the relationship your revenue has with its cost. So if your AR is above your AC, that means you are making supernormal profit. But if your AC is above your AR, then you are making a loss. So that is the point about, do you get the point I'm making about monopolistic competition here? So in the short run, a firm in a monopolistic competition could maximize profit, could make abnormal profit or supernormal profit, could make a normal profit or make a loss. But whatever it makes at that point in time is in relationship with the average, the cost of production. So the graphical representation of a short-run economic and loss will be represented below. So here we have abnormal profit here. So there's abnormal profit here. Why does the firm has an abnormal profit here? It has an abnormal profit here because it's producing where MC equals to MR. This is the point of production. MC equals to MR in the short run. So in the cost of producing here, this is your average revenue, which is your demand. This is your demand curve, right? So your demand curve is the same as your average revenue. So if you are producing at this point, it simply means if your revenue is at this point, it means it's above your AC. This is your average cost of production, which is below the AR, the demand. And you're producing where MC equals to MR. So this point, BEFG, is abnormal profit. Do you get it? There's abnormal profit here because the average revenue, which is the demand curve, is above the average cost. This is the average cost. Do you get it here?
Yeah.
So the firm is producing at OA. This is the output at OA, where there's MR. So AR is above MR and is above AC. So because AR is above MR and AC, that means abnormal profit. Is abnormal profit clear?
Yeah.
Great. Then a firm can also make, so here I wrote, the firm will produce where MC equals to MR in equilibrium. So the AR is above AC at equilibrium level of output OA. So firm will earn supernormal profit of BEFG. So that is the point. Then a firm in a monopolistic competition can also make a loss, like we said earlier. So making a loss or profit depends on the relationship between the revenue and the cost. So for a firm in a monopolistic competition, it could make a loss here because here it's still going to produce where MC equals to MR at output OA. This is what the production level is, and this is the demand curve. So the average revenue is below the average cost.
Yeah.
So if your average revenue is below your average cost, that means you're making a loss. So the firm will be making a loss as BEFG. Is it clear? So the firm will produce where MC equals to MR. So the point about in a monopolistic competition, in the short run, firm will always produce where MC equals to MR. But we decide if it's making a profit, a supernormal profit or loss, where we have the relationship between AR and AC. So the firm will produce where MC equals to MR in equilibrium because average cost is above average revenue at equilibrium level of output OA. So it will make a loss of BEG. I think it's clear. Any question about that?
No.
And the graph is the same here. I think it's clear, right?
Yeah.
So I think in the next class, we're going to talk about the long run. Now, okay, let me go down this.